On Tuesday, jury selection is scheduled to begin in the trial of a man accused of killing Sade Robinson and dismembering her remains after a first date. It's been more than a year since Robinson vanished. All day, people have been leaving flowers at a memorial for her at Pizza Shuttle, where she worked on Milwaukee's east side. Maxwell Anderson is charged in her death. He has pled not guilty in this case. 12 News legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Dan Adams joins us this afternoon. Important to note you are not affiliated with this case at all, but what can we expect when Tuesday begins with jury selection?
Well, jury selection happens in every trial, right? We have a panel of citizens who get their summons in the mail. They come to the courthouse. They're instructed on what being a juror will be. And then they're brought up in little troves and questioned about their life history, whether or not they've heard about the case, whether or not they've drawn conclusions. And ultimately, the question is, can you be fair to both the state of Wisconsin as well as Maxwell Anderson in the case?
Regardless of what you've heard about this case.
Well, that's the special problem in Maxwell Anderson's case. From Sade Robinson's disappearance to his quick arrest afterward and the litigation of this case, it has been wall-to-wall coverage about this case. To find a Milwaukee County resident who hasn't at least seen us talking about it, right, or read some media coverage and develop some type of underlying bias in the case would be so unusual. So the lawyers have to probe them. The judge will probe these potential jurors to see if they really can set aside anything they may have heard, look at all of the evidence with an open mind, and deliver a fair verdict.
When opening statements do begin, do you expect prosecutors in the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office to lay out how Sade Robinson died? Because we have not heard that in any court record or anything from police at this point.
That's the big mystery in this case, Derek, and I think this is what makes it a particularly salacious and interesting case for the public. What has been released to the public at this point has been, we know that they went on a first date, we know that they presumably went back to Maxwell Anderson's house, and then there's a 2 or 3 hour period where we don't know what happened. And then we know that her phone was pinging off of different locations in the city of Milwaukee, and obviously later her remains were found distributed all around the county. So what happened in those, again, 2 hours in the middle of the night is the big question mark in the case. I would expect the state has some type of theory that has not been put forth in any type of search warrant, criminal complaint, or any other public document.
That's for prosecutors. Now, switching to the defense side, any legal challenges you see for defense attorneys on Maxwell Anderson's behalf?
Oh, sure, definitely. Well, again, back to the pretrial publicity of this, the fact that we're talking about it on a Friday afternoon before Memorial Day, and we've been talking about it all year, is obviously a detriment to the defense. They're going to have a theory consistent with his innocence. They're going to present that probably in opening statement, and then develop through cross-examination of the state's witnesses, perhaps their own witnesses, that theory of innocence for Mr. Anderson.
At this point, we have not heard any suggestion that there's been any request for the jury to be sequestered in this case. Do you find that surprising at all in such a high-profile case? Yeah,
I can't remember the last time a Milwaukee County jury was sequestered. Right. It's a question of resources. Back in the good old days, they would put the jury up in, the Hilton Hotel for a week-long trial or something like that. That simply doesn't happen. The jury will be lucky to get ham sandwiches during deliberations. It's just not a glamorous place to be a juror at this point in time.
And it seems like this case will have mounds of evidence, if you will. They're expecting it will last about 2 weeks. You think that sounds about right, given this kind of case?
I think so. The state has put forth a witness list of 250 people. I expect they will par that back way to, maybe 50. For a 2-week trial. A lot of this is going to be the forensic evidence, what was on cell phones, what was on computers. We know that there's surveillance video from different locations, and then some citizen witnesses to fill in the gaps.
And the burden is on the state to prove this case. Do you foresee any challenges for the state or defense team?
I think we should all remember that as salacious and high profile as this case has been, the only people who should be deciding this case at the end of 2 weeks are the 12 people who are going to deliberate. We live in a great country where we don't try people in the media, in newspapers, on Facebook. We try people in a jury room after all evidence has been presented and both sides have a fair shot.
I know you're going to be watching it with us as this trial continues.